What would it take for God's kingdom, the gospel, to advance in the world and in the church and for people to be growing in their walk with Jesus? I want to share a challenge with you that me and some of the guys from church were talking about this past Sunday, talking about the subject of prayer, and specifically a challenge of, if God had answered all of your prayers in the last week, how would the world be different? Would the world be different for a greater cause of the kingdom of Jesus being advanced? Or would it look like your own little bubble and sphere would look good just for you, but really outside of that, there's really nothing going on where you could see Christ moving? And the challenge was for us to, when we pray, think outside of ourselves. Yes, it's okay to ask God for our needs that we need met and stuff, but to think so much greater of what would it take for God's kingdom, the gospel, to advance in the world and in the church and for people to be growing in their walk with Jesus. You know, Paul gives a good example a lot of times in the prayers he does. I'm going to read for you out of Ephesians chapter 1, verses 18 and 19. And it gives just a snippet of how Paul prayed for fellow Christians and his outlook. And a lot of times Paul's circumstances were not personally good where he was at. But listen to this in Ephesians 1, verse 18. I pray that the eyes of your heart may be enlightened, so that you may know what is the hope of his calling, what are the glorious riches of his inheritance among the saints, and what is the immeasurable greatness of his power to us who believe, according to the work of his vast strength. You know, and Paul was focused on fellow Christians and new Christians growing in their understanding of God's goodness to him, the inheritance and benefits he's offered to us, and growing in the strength to live the Christian faith under the persecution they were under. And so that's just a challenge for me, and I hope for you as well, is how are you praying? Take an inventory of that. Are your prayers prayed in a way that would impact your fellow Christians, your fellow family members, and their growth and understanding of what Christ has for them? That's a challenge to think about today. Have a great day.